Here she is. I just realized I kind of have it wrapped up like it's an actual reveal, but this is normally how I store it. Here she is. I'm still not used to taking the tarp off of this bad boy. Oh, guess we need to go get some gas. Woo! That was a nasty shift. This thing shifts so much different than the DRZ, because the DRZ's revs just hang up there and the clutch is super light because of the shorty. This thing, the revs just tank really quick. The shifts are slipping a lot right now because I still have the muscle memory of giving it a little bit of gas when I shift, just because the DRZ's revs fell so slowly. But now on this thing, like, I don't need to give it any gas. Yeah, like no gas when I shift, and the shifts have literally just got to be like boom, really quick. All right. It's actually my first time getting gas in this thing. I'm gonna turn this back on when I'm on the road. We're not gonna go far up the road. I'm actually gonna go back to that same parking lot from the 100 sub announcement video. I just hope there's not gonna be a lot of people there. Oh, thank you, kind citizen. Yeah, I don't want to go very far up the road to just do a quick little walk around of this bike, because I actually do not have a license plate on this thing, because the previous owner wanted to keep his license plate. In the previous video I mentioned I got this thing from Louisiana, or actually I don't think I mentioned that. I think I mentioned I just traded it. Yeah, I drove to Louisiana to trade this bike. I drove all the way to Shreveport, and according to that dude, apparently in Louisiana when you go to swap the title over, they require you to keep the license plate of the previous bike that you're getting, or like your old bike. You have to keep the license plate for that, so I guess they can document it for their own purposes of basically saying, all right, this dude's no longer in ownership of this bike. So unfortunately he had to take the license plate off this thing. So yeah, needless to say, I don't want to be riding this bike around all over the place without a license plate on it, because you know, this isn't the type of bike where I'm gonna need to not have a license plate. I'm not going to be doing any sorts of nefarious activities, at least on this motorcycle. All right, let's pull up here, and all right, cool, this lot's empty still, so this will be a good one to do a quick little showing on of the new Ripper. All right, everybody, well, here it is. This is my new bike. This is a 2015 Yamaha FZ-09. I got it from a trade offer from a dude on Facebook whenever I had listed the DRZ for sale on Facebook. And some of y'all might be wondering, why would you list the DRZ for sale? Well, I've done it with every motorcycle that I've really ever owned. Regardless if I like the motorcycle or not, I always tend to list it for sale, just because, you know, I'm not going to say no if, you know, a crazy good trade offer comes along, or some dude's willing to pay a good amount of cash for it. You know, I'm never going to say no to a good deal. I believe there's always a price on something. So, and sure enough, the price on the DRZ, the dude was willing to trade me his very clean FZ-09 for. This is a bike that I've wanted for, you know, months and months now. I'd even probably say at this point it's been over a year since I've really wanted to, at a minimum, just ride one of these bikes, let alone own one. So yeah, that's kind of a general background on how I got the bike. So now we can kind of do a quick little walk around, because as y'all can see, and you know, now that I mention that, there's not really much to really walk around on it. For the most part, this bike's actually pretty bone stock. I mean, all the way down to the stock levers, and y'all know me, I love stock levers. I might I might replace the clutch lever with a one-finger clutch like the DRZ had, because I got used to riding with one and I actually really like it. So I might replace that clutch lever with a one finger, and then other than that, as far as mods go, it's got a full M4 exhaust, completely decatted. It's you can tell it was kind of jerry-rigged on there a little bit. This This hanger right here is kind of not hanging anymore. I could honestly probably just rip it off. It's not really doing much of anything. So it's got these little crash rails, tiny little cage right here that I'm honestly not the biggest fan of color wise. I'm probably just going to take them off at some point because I don't really like the purple on it. To be honest with you, that's really as modified as this thing is, which once again I really liked. I like bikes that are unmolested, that nobody's done a crap load of stuff to, especially with Yamaha. I love their factory color schemes. I really don't think these bikes you really need to do all that much for. Like I said, they're really the only performance mods you need to do on this thing are exhaust and a tune. And as far as the tune goes, one thing that I'll kind of showcase whenever we get back on the bike is that this thing is still running on the stock tune. So down low, it actually kind of rides like shit. It kind of like cuts out a little bit just because, you know, I don't know if it's rich or fuel. Some people say it runs lean if you don't. Some people say it runs rich. I have no idea, honestly. I'd have to hook up an AFR gauge to it to see what it's actually doing. But the bike kind of runs like shit right now because it's still in the stock tune, but that's an ECU flash away from, you know, running perfect. And as far as the M4 exhaust goes on this thing, I think it's the perfect amount of loudness and sort of gruntiness that these triple cylinder engines have, as opposed to, you know, getting like an SE Project and all you hear is just fucking like super loud, and it gets annoying after a while. So yeah, I mean, that's really all I can really showcase on this bike. I figured when I was doing the walk around I was going to be able to point out more stuff on the bike, but yeah, overall it's pretty much just she's a stocky. So let's get y'all some sights and sounds and show you what it's like to ride this thing. Short little rip. One thing that videos on this bike will tell you, and it is 100% the truth, this thing is twitchy. I have this thing on standard mode right now, which is just like the middle mode. You have B mode, standard, and A mode, and dude, this thing just wants to go. This thing makes so much torque. The throttle response is it's definitely, like I said, twitchy. It's just a completely different feeling than what the DRZ was, which, you know, is obvious. You're going from a bike that's basically a dirt bike all the way to this thing, which is one of the most nasty naked motorcycles you could buy, just because of how much power this thing produces, how short the wheelbase is, and how light this motorcycle is. It's definitely going to take some getting used to. Turn back on this back road we just came from here. I think I know now how I need to shift this bike smooth. I literally have to barely pull in the clutch. Like I'm probably pulling it a fifth of the way in. I just go boop like that, and that's all you need, and it shifts smooth because, like I said, this thing's RPM just drops super quick. It's a different animal than that DRZ, I tell you. And some of y'all might be curious kind of like what my goals with this bike are. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely sure yet. Like I mentioned, I've always wanted this bike just because, you know, they're kind of I've always seen these bikes as like a jack of all trades motorcycle. They're quick, they're torquey, they can wheelie really easily if you're able to tame it. I can tell you one thing for sure, this thing's going to be a lot harder to tame than that damn DRZ. So like I'm going to be trying to do stuff like that, like trying to progress with wheelies like I have been the DRZ. I'm going to have to take it very slow though, just because this thing's a totally different animal. I've heard people say that these bikes are harder to wheelie than some like 1000s out there. That'll definitely be a learning lesson, but you know, it wheelies, it can go quick on the highway, but you know, not quick enough to really hurt you or to really get you in trouble. It offers all that, but it's comfy to sit on, it sounds great. Just, I don't know, man. I don't really have like a full-on goal for this motorcycle. It's one of those deals, just I've always wanted to have one, and I know I can like make content on this thing. There's stuff I want to do to this bike that I can kind of show y'all. What I want to do with it, make some videos, you know, working on it, riding places with it, you know, kind of doing some other like showcase videos on it. I figured overall it's a bike that I can really try and progress the channel with as far as, you know, making videos on it. The DRZ, I felt like I was kind of capped out on the stuff I was doing to it currently because, you know, it couldn't go fast on the street. It wasn't the best to really take on like road trips anywhere. I could have probably squeaked a handful more videos out on it, but like I said, I was kind of getting over the DRZ a little bit, because especially when I got the trade offer for this bike, I saw getting this bike as, you know, an opportunity for me to really try and throw a more interesting bike, or at least a more interesting bike that I feel like a lot more people would want to see me kind of ride around and showcase than something like the DRZ would. Because I know some of y'all like the DRZ. Trust me, I did too. I mean, I give that bike full credit for excelling me as a rider, especially when it comes to doing wheelies. I definitely enjoyed that bike a lot, and I will have another Sumo, that's for sure. I just don't think it'll be the DRZ. I never saw the DRZ as kind of like a forever bike. It was just a good one that I saw, or like, it's kind of was the same thing as this. It's a bike I'd always wanted to ride. I'd never owned a Sumo before, and I was like, man, that's a street legal Sumo. I might as well get that. And it was a lot of fun, and it made me, you know, develop a love for Sumos. And, you know, like I said, I will have one again. I just kind of realized a little early on that it wasn't going to be the DRZ. I think it's probably dark enough where we could get some flame action. Jump. The burbles and backfires are cool, but I like them when they're supposed to be there, not when they're not supposed to be, because the bike isn't tuned yet. Oh, why'd you do that? Don't do that. Oh, I gotta... stock tune, I swear to God. Can't even rev it and it dies. Shooting a lot more flames than the first time I initially got it. Alright, let's get out of here before we get in trouble. Why are we braking? I want to make the green light. Whew. Alrighty, well, I'm gonna end the video here. Let me know what y'all think of the new bike. Y'all excited to see some videos on it? Like I said, I got a lot of ideas for kind of what I want to do to this thing, and I definitely have some ideas for videos that I want to shoot, kind of showcasing the bike, and you know, it's kind of other avenues that this bike can take me down. If you liked the video, be sure to like it. If you didn't like it, I guess you can't dislike it, but you can comment if you don't like it. Subscribe to the channel, follow me on Instagram, and yeah, I'll see y'all later.